Hello and welcome to another 6-Minute Salesforce. Today we're going to be talking about lists. Lists are very simple objects inside of Salesforce. And basically, let's start off right here. List string, and the string is the type of object the list is going to contain. That's all that is. We're going to call it string list here. And then we have to instantiate it, so we have to do list string open close paren. And now we have an empty list. We're going to fill this with strings. So we're going to do string list.add, and that's going to add an element to this. And of course, we got to add a string. So we're going to add a string called something. And that's it there. So we're going to add another one. And we'll just do something else, basically. So now we've got two strings in our list of strings, right? And the idea here is that you can do a lot of stuff with this. You can add, you can remove, but right now we're just going to do a system.debug, and we're going to print out our whole entire string list and see what that looks like real quick. So here we are in the debug, and let's get our debug out, and you can see that it's just the two strings that we have in there. That's all. Pretty simple so far. Now let's start using some of the built-in functions of the list, right? So we can do a lot with a list. We can clear the list, we can remove elements from the list, we can do a lot. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna clear the whole entire list, and we're gonna see what that does. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add something else to the list. So string list.add, and we're just gonna add something new so that we can see what happens when we clear the list. And it does exactly what you think. It empties out the whole entire list that we had before, and see, now we only have something new in there. So it took out both of the old ones, cleared the whole list, and then we added something after we did the clear, and that made it only that object in there. So now let's think about what other items that we have here. What else can we do with this string list, right? So we can get, which is another function, and we can get the 0th element, which is the first element in the list. So let's system.debug that, and we'll print that out. So it should give us something right there. It should give us that something element. So let's run that. And we'll look at our logs. And right there, so you see the first one that printed out is just something, and that's what we wanted, right? So we've looked at clear, we've looked at get. So now let's look at set, which is another function that is used a lot inside of lists. So we'll do string list dot set, and what this does is exactly, again, what it says it does. It sets an element number. So we're going to set the 0th element to a value. So it sets an index to a value. So we're going to call this a thing, right? And that should now show, instead of showing something, it should show a thing. So we're going to execute this. We're going to look at our logs. And of course, the very first thing, I clicked the wrong button here. So go to the logs. A thing. That's the first thing that shows up. So it overwrote that first element that used to be something is now a thing. Another popular function inside of here is size. So whenever we want to get the size of a list, we can very easily access that by doing a dot size and calling that method on our list. So that's going to give us the actual size of this list. So let's remove our set statement here, and let's actually add in the remove statement here. So we started off with a list of size 2, and we're going to remove the first element. Then we're going to print out the first element, and then we're going to look at the size. So the first element should be something else now. That's what we should get. And then this size should print out a 1. I'm just going to comment that there real quick. So let's execute it. And let's look at our debug log. And we notice something else is the thing that prints out. And there's 1 because we removed that first element that was there before. So now let's go back to the code and let's think about some more things that we can do with this list. So let's try to start a little list that's easier to digest. We'll start putting in some letters. I'm going to get rid of this because I'm going to make a sort function real quick here, or I'm going to call the sort function. And let's copy paste this a couple times, and let's see how we can make this a little bit easier, like I said, to digest. We're just going to alphabetize this list, right? So right now we're going to put it in a weird order. We're going to see what the sort function does and what the size function does and what the first element is that gets us. So we're going to have 5, and we should get the first element of A because it should sort that whole thing out, even though A is the last element that we put in there, right? So there you go. You see the A there? And it sorted the whole thing for us just alphabetically because that's the default sort. And the 0th element, even though this, like I said, it's the last element there, the first element we got was A. So now let's just print out the whole entire, oops, I missed the parentheses there. Let's print out the whole entire list and see what it looks like now. And debug, and there you have it. It's in alphabetical order. And that's all we got for this one. See you next time.